So how have you found that consistency then? Like, how have you gone from not starting for a month, like literally having all the resources and just not starting, to now then like actually going through ups and downs, but then now kind of finding a rhythm to actually see success?
I think, so shifting my mindset, seeing the results, the more I've networked, the more I've interacted with people, the more it's pushed me. So there's people who have joined EK who I see the success they have, and I've helped them on their journey. And it's like, that's motivating. But also, you know, like I say, being able to feel it, like now financially, I don't really think about the money now. This is another thing. In the early days, I was so focused on the money, like to the point that I'm like, oh, it's not enough. This is going to be a problem. I'm worried. I need the money. I'm like, oh shit, I've only made this much this month. I don't think about it like that now. If you focus on the process, the results come.
Yeah.
Whereas I focus too hard on the results at the beginning. And this happens a lot. So people don't listen properly to what you say. You've said for the year that I've known you pretty much, that Etsy is the easiest way to get into ecom. But people hear easiest and assume, it's easy. It just means it's easier compared to other things. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be patient. It doesn't mean you don't have to put the work in. And for me, like, I see people kind of start and like they're being lazy. And I know they're being lazy because I've done it. I've had people now, and I talk honestly to people, and it's like, I know what you're doing because I've done that. So I'm not being a judgmental prick when I'm criticizing what you're doing. It's like, I've done what you've done. I know it works if you change your mindset. But yeah, sometimes the laziness, or, you know, I always say it's like the Holy Trinity. It's like, be consistent, be resilient, and don't be retarded. And as long as, can we say retarded on YouTube?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's fine. Don't be stupid. But as long as you're those three things, you can't really fail at anything in life, really.
Yeah,
but
literally anything.
Especially with Etsy, but anything in life.
Yeah, really. Like, I did a voice note about this in the car here. It's like 91% of people do over 100 Etsy listings. Like, out of everyone that starts Etsy, like everyone ever, so 1% of people actually do over like 100 listings.
Yeah.
It has to be like people have no level of consistency to actually stick with something. And it kind of comes from no like instant gratification. It's like, normally you see in like a job or something, unless you got a boss bearing over you saying like, well done, that's good, that's bad. Whereas with online business, Etsy is like the fucking easiest one. But with online business in general, you don't like see the instant gratification. It takes a bit of time. And Etsy is the easiest one because you see pretty much instant gratification. If you do it for a month, you get sales. Like, not even a month. You do it for 2 weeks, you will get a sale. You will get a sale. And that's, you've made your first tiny little bit of money from the internet, from thin air, like from some random person halfway around the fucking
But that's the thing. So to get to a place when you step back and look at, so at the end of the year, I looked at my stores and it's like, the amounts, everyone does different amounts, right? But the point is, you managed to make random people on earth send money in your direction. And that, like, if you've not been of like a hustler mindset or in sales or in anything like that, that's quite a bizarre thing to stop and think about for a second. Like, especially like for me, like I've never done that. My job isn't sales. So like, that's also not a thing. So to stop and go, okay, I've made people do that. And if I did it once, I could do it 10 times. If I did it 10 times, I'd do it 1,000 times. You know, if I made 1,000, I'll easily make 10. After I made 10, okay, I'll easily make 50. After I've done 50, I'll get to 100. Like, all of that is, it just happens really, as long as you have that mindset.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing I realized over maybe like the past 2 months or so, especially this year. It's like, I've given so much practical advice, but it really comes down to the actual mentality. That's the reason why most people don't see success from the actual practical advice. You can give people absolutely everything. I think it's like a take quote. Like, I can give you everything, every piece of knowledge that I have ever learned, but you won't take action with it. And that's the truth with like the free live streams and the free guides that I've given. Is like, I don't know, maybe 50,000 people have viewed them or something like this. Like, I think the 45-minute guide now, it's got like 17,000 views, 18,000 views, something like this. Like, it's like 5% retention to the end, 7% retention to the end. Out of those, however many thousand people, 1,000 people, whatever. It's like, out of those 1,000 people, I guarantee literally 80% aren't doing it like 2 weeks after. Like 20% of the 7% that have actually watched it are actually going to do it. And then are they actually going to stick with it for 6 months? Are they actually going to stick with it for 12 months? Like, no, they're not. So it's like, all really comes down to the mentality. You can be given absolutely everything, but it's completely true. All the fucking action mentality.
You did a voice note about this a few months, like in January, I think. And there was a bunch of us at EK. I don't know if you know this. There was a bunch of us in EK who were messaging each other about this voice note in particular. And you sounded almost like angry, but like passionate. And you talked about how you could give all of us your winning products, your warehouse, your suppliers, basically everything. You could give all that to us today, and the vast majority of it would still fuck it up. And you talked about how if you live in the West, you have the greatest opportunity in front of you. And it's so true. And you said you can't waste it. And the way you said it, you can't waste it. And the way that came across, there was a bunch of us were all talking about this voice note. There was one guy said to me, I've listened to it 5 times already. He's at the gym and he was like, I just keep listening to this fucking voice note. And that mindset piece is true, because in February of last year, if you'd given me your winning products, your warehouse, your staff, I would have fucked it up. My mindset now, if you do that, feel free to. If you do that, it would be very different, because my mindset has evolved. And some of it is also around feeling like not wanting to seem like a fraud by like, oh, I'm telling people how they should do things, I'm not doing it myself, but also like two-way respect, right? So like I built a relationship with you over the last time, and I help you out with stuff, work together on things, Oscar, other people in the group, whoever. And it's like now it's almost that as well. I'm not gonna let myself down. I don't wanna let you down. Because if you bring me on your pod or whatever, like I'm now a reflection of your community. Mm-hmm. And so I've always been almost a bit protective as well about EK, to be honest. So when people join and they struggle, and some people, they give up so easily, like, oh, this is shit, it's not this, it's not that. And I try and help them because I want them to feel the benefit that EK brings, because I know the benefit. I've got some friends I've got one who's in a worse financial situation than I was in, like notably worse. And I've been showing him my numbers for a long time now. And I was like, look, I'm making more than you're making in your job, man. Like, help. And he said to me, I borrowed his car to come here today, actually, because I was fucked. But he said to me, oh, you're going to mention me because I was lazy. And not in a shitty way towards him, but he embodies everything about my previous mindset. And like, I give him anything. Pay for stock, do this, do that. Yeah. He has to want it. Yeah. And I think for anyone who's in a mindset of, I want to do this, want to do that, I've seen this YouTube video, I'm going to join this. If you don't want it enough, you're not going to succeed. All of your knowledge, all of your experience, however many hundreds of people that are in EK that are happy to help, and every fucker is happy to help, like it's a really good community, is not going to change your life if you don't change it. And that was the thing for me. I started at the same time as people like David, people like that. And, I don't mind saying I haven't achieved the same amount that they have. But that's only because of my choice. We had the same resources available to us. So yeah, I think mindset, drive, and also having a rough goal. My goal initially was just survive month to month, and I easily surpassed that. So then my little accepting where I was kind of creeps in every now and then. But it's been good. I think the more I've worked, the more I speak to you now, the more like it drives me as well, for sure.